Have you ever wondered how a lifetime of worship could crumble in a single moment of temptation? How could a man known for his piety, devotion, fall into the depths of sin and ruin? Can one whisper from the devil undo years of faith? As a saint among his people, whose name became a timeless warning against pride, deception, and the whisperings of Shaitan. His tale reminds us that no soul is beyond corruption, and no amount of worship and piety, however righteous, is safe from trial and temptations. The story of Barsisa is not just an ancient tale. It's a mirror held up to every believer's heart. It reminds us that even the most devoted can fall when pride replaces humility and when trust in our own righteousness blinds us to our weaknesses. Barsisa's downfall teaches the importance of constant vigilance against temptation, sincere repentance, and seeking refuge in Allah from the whisperings of Shaitan. It's a story that speaks to scholars, worshippers, and everyday believers alike, warning that faith is not proven by years of worship alone, but by remaining steadfast in moments of trial.
In the times of Bani Israel,
there lived a man whose name became known in every town and every household, Barsisa. For more than 60 years he had devoted his life entirely to the worship of Allah. He withdrew from the pleasures of the world, retreating into a temple built upon a hill to concentrate on worship. Barsisa was a devout monk from the children of Israel, renowned for over 60 years of continuous worship and piety. He lived in solitude within his small temple in devotion to Allah. His appearance was humble, and he clothed in simple garments. Known among his people for honesty and purity, he was trusted deeply, a symbol of righteousness and steadfastness. His days were spent in fasting, his nights in prayer. His lips moved constantly with remembrance, and his forehead bore the mark of endless prostrations and spiritual struggle. People looked upon him as an example of piety, a symbol of faith, a man who seemed untouched by the temptations that burden ordinary souls. But what people did not see was that devotion alone is not immunity. Even the strongest in worship are still vulnerable to whispers. Behind his devotion lay vulnerability, which Shaitan would eventually exploit. One day, 3 brothers prepared to leave their home to join the ranks of fighters in jihad. They were ready in heart and body, but one concern weighed them down: their younger sister. She was young, beautiful, and vulnerable. They could not take her along, but leaving her alone was equally dangerous. "Who will protect her in our absence?" the eldest asked. "Who can we trust with her honor?" Their answer came quickly. They ascended the hill and knocked on the temple door. When Barsisa emerged, they spoke humbly. "Ya Barsisa, we come to you as you are the best person here who can assist us. We need your help. We want to go for jihad and struggle in the way of Allah. But we have a young sister whom we don't know anyone else we can entrust her with, apart from you. We know of your piety, your fear of Allah, and your honesty. We wish to leave her with you while we are away. Please help us."
Barsisa's heart shuddered. He lowered his gaze and shook his head. "No," he replied. "I fear temptation. I cannot accept this responsibility." The brothers pressed him, but he remained firm. Finally, they turned away in disappointment. That night, however, Barsisa lay restless. A whisper gnawed at him. "They trusted you. You were the safest place for her. If you refuse, they will leave her in the hands of one who may harm her. Will you let this sin fall upon you when you could have protected her?" Barsisa tossed on his bed of straw, unable to sleep. When morning came, he sent for the brothers and said, "I will look after her, but not within my temple. Let her stay in the house beside it, so there is no fitna. I will see to her needs from afar." Relieved, the brothers thanked him, placed their sister in his care, and they departed.
At first, Barsisa kept his distance. He would cook food, leave it outside his temple, and call for her to collect it. She would quietly step out, take the food, and return without a word. This seemed safe, and Barsisa's conscience was at ease. But Shaitan whispered, "She walks alone in the open, exposed to strangers. She is young and beautiful. What if someone with wicked eyes sees her? What if harm befalls her on the path? Barsisa, would you let her suffer while you claim to be righteous?" The argument seemed logical. Convinced it was a matter of protection, Barsisa began carrying the food closer, setting it at her doorstep, knocking gently, and slipping away unseen. Days passed. Weeks became months. Still, the brothers did not return. Again, Shaitan whispered, "Even now she steps outside to pick up the food. She may be seen. If you truly care for her safety, enter the house, set the food down, and leave. Do not speak. Do not look. Simply fulfill your duty more diligently." Barsisa hesitated, then relented. He told himself it was for Allah's sake, to guard the sister of those who trusted him. So he began to step inside, place the meal quietly, and leave without a word.
Time went by, and silence turned to speech. At first, it was a simple greeting, "Peace be upon you," and "Upon you, peace." Another day, she thanked him softly. Soon the exchanges grew into brief conversations, and those conversations lengthened. The distance between the temple and the house grew shorter, while the distance between his worship and his heart grew wider. The one who had spent 6 decades bowing to Allah now found himself lingering at her door, listening to her voice, and finally stepping in to forbidden talk, until one night the barrier crumbled completely. Barsisa committed zina.
Panic struck. Barsisa was consumed by fear. What would the brothers say when they returned? What would the people think when the truth emerged? Temptation overtook him. He fell into sin with her, and she became pregnant. Fearing shame and exposure, Barsisa panicked. When the child was born, Shaitan whispered again, urging him to hide his sin by committing an even greater one. So Barsisa killed the baby and buried it secretly near his cell. But the baby's mother could not take the death of her baby slightly. She grew hysterical and unbearable. Eventually, to cover his actions, he also killed the woman and buried her too, making it appear as though she had died naturally. Then Shaitan seized the moment. "Look at what you have done, you, the worshipper, the monk, the man of 60 years of prayer. You betrayed their trust. If they find out, your name will be ruined, your honor destroyed." Barsisa wept. He trembled. When the brothers finally returned, they asked eagerly, "Where is our sister?" Barsisa lowered his eyes. "She fell ill," he said gravely, "and died. I buried her. May Allah have mercy on her." The brothers were devastated, but they did not doubt him. How could they? He was Barsisa, the pious one, the man of God. That night, however, each brother dreamed the same dream. They saw Barsisa murdering their sister and her baby and burying them together. They awoke shaken, and when they compared dreams, they realized all three had seen the same vision. At dawn, they rushed to the place shown in the dream. There, beneath the earth, they found her body and the child. Barsisa's lie crumbled. He was seized and bound, dragged to face justice for his crime. As he was led away, his mind spiraled in terror. Every step toward execution was heavier than the last. He thought of his years of worship, his endless nights of prayer, all shattered in a single chain of sins. Then, as he walked, a figure appeared before him. Not a whisper this time, but a man standing clear. "Do you know me, Barsisa?" the stranger asked. Barsisa shook his head, his face pale. "I am the one who led you here," the figure sneered. "I whispered, and you obeyed. From food at the door to conversation, from conversation to sin, from sin to murder. Step by step, I brought you to this moment, and now I can save you." Barsisa's eyes widened with desperate hope. "Save me? How?" The figure's smile twisted. "Prostrate to me. Bow to me once, and I will save you." Fear overcame faith. Reason drowned in desperation. Barsisa, who had spent 60 decades prostrating to Allah alone, now bent his head to prostrate to Shaitan. The figure burst into laughter and vanished. Barsisa was left alone, humiliated, bowed in falsehood. Moments later, he was executed. He died not in faith, but in disbelief. Thus ended the story of Barsisa, the monk who worshipped Allah for 60 years, yet lost everything in the span of moments. He did not fall all at once, but step by step. A concession here, a whisper there, a seemingly small act of kindness that led to ruin. This is how Shaitan deceives. Allah warns in the Qur'an, "And do not follow the footsteps of Shaitan. Indeed, he is to you a clear enemy." Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 168. Barsisa followed those footsteps, one after another, until he bowed to the enemy himself. The lesson is stark. No matter how long one has worshipped, no matter how strong one believes their faith to be, vigilance is never abandoned. Protection lies only in constant remembrance of Allah, seeking refuge from Shaitan, and never trusting oneself against temptation, no matter how pious they appear. It teaches that faith is a lifelong struggle, not a title earned by years of worship. It warns us to stay humble, seek forgiveness quickly, and never trust our deeds alone, for even the strongest hearts can fall into temptations. If this story reminded you not to lower your guard and seek Allah's protection until your last breath, then please subscribe and like this video. Leave a positive comment to motivate us to do of such reminders.